Jacquie Griffiths, welcome. You are the President of Invest Vancouver. What does the President of Invest Vancouver do on a day-to-day basis?
On a day-to-day basis, the President of Invest Vancouver spends her time really thinking about how it is that she can promote economic opportunities and attract the right kind of investment so that the residents of the Metro Vancouver region have the highest quality employment in order to be able to thrive in this economy.
So tell me, how do you go about doing that? Do you have a team of people helping you? Are you working in multiple sectors? And how do you manage all of that?
Great question. So yes, we definitely were focused in on a number of key sectors. The three most important sectors for us right now are life sciences, tech and high tech, and the green economy. And what we do is we work locally with our industries to make sure that they're as strong as they can possibly be. We work within the ecosystem to develop talent. And then we also go out in the global marketplace to market the opportunities for potential investors coming into the region. And we do that across three functional areas. So I've got an amazing team of people, and they work in three teams. One is data research and policy, where we get the data we need to have evidence-based discussions. The second area is collaboration, where we do our marketing as well as our work with industry. And then the third area is strategic investment, and that's where we go out and we bring in delegations as well to highlight and really make sure the world knows everything we do about what a great place Metro Vancouver as a region is to invest.
So you manage those teams because you're the president. But at what point with each one of the different activities that those teams undertake, do you get involved in what they're doing?
You know, it's interesting because we've been around for about 2 years now. So as a startup at the early stages, I found I was very involved most of the time because we were such a small team. As we start to get a bit bigger and we're starting to build out, I'm working more towards an environment within which I really have empowered the vice presidents in each of these areas to really take charge. And they really have a good sense of where they need to bring me in. I'm very passionate about setting vision. I'm passionate about building relationships across the entire economy, and then just passionate about the team. So the areas I get involved is when it comes to setting vision, those key relationships that we want to make sure we manage, and then any of the new exciting initiatives if we're trying to drive change.
So you said as a startup, were you there right at the start? And what did the job look like then versus today?
I was there at the start. I came in as the executive vice president. It was a very different time. It was right in the middle of the pandemic. So we did all our work on Zoom. I would spend 8 or 9 hours a day on Zoom meeting with different individuals, across the region. A lot coming at us. And then suddenly roll forward 6 months after that, and we were starting to have in-person meetings. And now we're at a place where most of our work is in person, and there's a tremendous amount of travel. And we've, our size, obviously we've grown, and the demand for our services has grown. So it's been an amazing 2 years. It's gone by just really fast.
So where did the idea for Invest Vancouver come from?
It came from the Metro Vancouver Regional District Board. So the chair of the board at the time, Greg Moore, had a vision for what he called the Regional Economic Prosperity Service. And that had developed from a time coming out of the financial crisis, I think, where many of the mayors and the directors at Metro Vancouver had concerns that we weren't doing enough to make sure we had that strong and resilient economy. And so they brought people together to talk at a high level about what the vision would be. And from that, they created the notion of regional economic prosperity. And from that, Invest Vancouver was born.
So you, in essence, are an economic development agency. Exactly. When they went looking for somebody to fill your position, it's not the kind of position that you go, well, let's see who graduated from university with a degree in economic development agencies. So what was your career path to getting to where you are now?
It's funny, that's a question lots of people will ask. There's three areas you tend to see people come from in terms of going into economic development. There is investment attraction or business development. There is workforce development. And then in addition to that, there's sort of the data research and policy side of things. And so I had come from that workforce development side. I'd done a lot of work in terms of employment or employer branding. I'd worked in government and in the public sector in both workforce and labor strategy. And so I had a real sense of some of the challenges we were seeing within our workforce. So when I was looking to make a change that was broader in scope, I had the fortune of working at Metro Vancouver at the time, and they said, we've got this exciting opportunity. We've got an amazing person coming in from Los Angeles. David Flax was the first president, and they asked if I'd consider working closely with him. He was an absolute genius in terms of the early days of setting up the program, and then when he decided to return to California or to the United States. Fortunately, the powers that be felt that I'd learned enough that they gave me a shot at the president's job.
So do you report to a board of directors then?
No, I report through the Metro Vancouver system, through the Chief Administrative Officer's office.
So now let's go back to the beginning of your career. How did you get started? What did you study when you went to university or post-secondary?
I studied at the University of British Columbia and graduated with a Bachelor of Commerce from Sauder School of Business and spent time in human resources. I ended up doing quite a bit of work in labor relations and labor strategy. I had been the chief negotiator for the BC Public School Employers Association, working with school boards and government, and then had moved from that into local government, working across the 23 member jurisdictions and helping them with their overall human resources and labor strategy. And then from that transitioned into this role. Wow.
Been an interesting career path, hasn't it? Because it's not a straight line.
No. And I think, when I think of the advice I give to people who are coming into various careers now, that's exactly what I say to them. It's definitely not a straight line. I always say, focus on engaging work and focus on things that you're excited about getting up in the morning and doing, and everything else will take care of itself. Title, money, those things, I say, don't worry about that. Worry about being passionate about going to work, the people you're working with, and the things you're going to accomplish.
So what would you say are the most important skills that somebody in your position needs to possess?
I would say communication skills and relationship building skills. And I know that gets bantered about quite a bit, but especially within the Metro Vancouver region, I think the ability to establish those strong relationships, because in an economy like ours, no one group can go it alone. And so I've found that the relationships I've established over 20 plus years have served me so well in terms of some of these partnerships that we've needed to really start to move the needle.
You remind me of a quote that I wrote down when I did an interview with then National Chief of the Assembly First Nations, Perry Bellegarde. And he said, if you can't build relationships, you can't build anything.
I agree. It's everything.
It really is. I think it's plays such a fundamental role in people's careers, and then also the work that you do with everybody that you interact with as we collectively try to make something happen. Thank you very much for giving us a little insight into your role and how you got there.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.